Yes, everybody, good morning. Welcome back to Forever United TV. I'm Adam. I'm going to be bringing you all the updates in and around Manchester United, all the news, all the speculation, getting your thoughts on that in the live comment section, so please do get involved there. We're talking Kobby Mainoo showdown talks. Well, probably too much that showdown talks. We're talking Kobby Mainoo talks with Ruben Amorim, the future of this player. Well, still news going on about transfers going into January that could really affect Kobby Mainoo. Could we see a role reversal here? Could we see Manchester United looking to now nail down a contract for Kobby Mainoo? Or could we actually see Manchester United standing their ground and saying, okay then, give us 6 months, we'll find a replacement and let's go again in January with these talks? Still no contract agreement. Kobby Mainoo's future at Manchester United completely up in the air at the moment. Other news regarding Manchester United outgoings on the Saudi Pro League side of things. We talked about Andre Onana enough. There is more talk about the Saudi bids this time, as well as them Turkish bids that we talked about last night. We'll bring you updates throughout the day if anything materialises from that. But just to go off from what happened last night, still talks ongoing. It does look like Manchester United are trying to move things forward with Andre Onana and getting him out of the football club. International duties all start today. Several Manchester United players in action as well. We're looking ahead really to what happens after international break, what comes back, who plays where, and how Ruben Amorim really settles down with his squad right now. Kobby Mainoo is now a huge part of Manchester United's season. He has to be, in particular the next 4 months anyway. So with what happened towards the back end of the transfer window, I'm asking the question, and get into the comment section, get into the live comment section as well, whether you're watching now or watching later on. Would Kobby Mainoo got a move away from Manchester United if he requested a transfer earlier in the window? I think the only reason he's still here is because United didn't manage to get a new midfielder in. Now, like I said before, Manchester United look into the situation in January. There were reports of Romeo Lavia from Chelsea. We touched on this yesterday. I don't think personally United are going to sign Lavia. I don't. I would rather have Kobby Mainoo there, who I know is probably going to... Well, to be honest, Lavia is a cracking player. I've got to be careful what I say there, because he is a raw talent, that lad. But his injury record scares the living hell out of me, so I'm staying away from him. So that's my stance on him. I don't really need to talk much more about him. I think in general, Manchester United might be looking at the potential of a loan signing like we've spoken about in January. I would prefer Kobby Mainoo to nail down this position and hold it for his own, and Manchester United move forward with one of their academy graduates under Ruben Amorim. And I think the talks today, or whenever they are, Manchester United I think have taken a couple of days off. Certain players that are not involved in international duties have took a little bit of a break. Whether you think they deserve that or not, that's another thing. But United obviously need to get their ship in order, ready to come back with the games that we spoke about. The next 6 games, including Manchester City, Chelsea, Brighton and Liverpool. It's not easy for Manchester United. So if there's a chance that you can air your thoughts, if there's a chance that you can sort things out between situations, coach, player, whatever it may be, now's the bleeding time, because Manchester United have had a shaky start, but just about held their heads above water. A bad bunch of results in this group of fixtures that's coming up, which are a nightmare for Manchester United, going off the history of this particular fixture in all of the cases that we've got coming up in them 6 games. Then that could plummet Manchester United straight back down into bottom half of the table, mediocrity again, and then all the negativity just starts to pile on again. There is a slim chance right here that Manchester United could just about turn a tiny little bit of a positive corner if they come back from international break and are flying, get a good result against Manchester City. That would just put Manchester United, I feel, right up there. I think we can beat Chelsea at home. I really do think that the games at home, Manchester United, I think we could beat anybody. I really do. And I think that's what United need to be aiming for this season. So if they can be solid enough in them games away from home, we can get somewhere. We need a fully cohesive and fully on board squad. This is what United have been working through all summer. They want players that are 100% on board with Ruben Amorim and want to give absolutely everything. We may not feel like these players are worth it. We may not feel like the quality is there for Manchester United. But one thing we've always had, and what we've struggled with over the last 5 years, I feel, is players that are not good enough and players that are just not on board with Ruben Amorim or any particular manager at that time and think they're better than what they are. I think the work that's gone on behind the scenes with Ineos this summer is ridding this football club of prima donnas, ridding this football club of players that think they should be in a certain position when they shouldn't, players that are just not good enough. You can just name all of them players that have left, and they all come under that category. I like Rasmus Højlund, but he wasn't good enough. Jadon Sancho thinks he's a world beater and doesn't want to be part of Manchester United. Just take the money. See you later. Alejandro Garnacho was given too much too soon and thought he was the next Ronaldo. See you later. Money in the bank. Again, you can go on and on and on. Marcus Rashford, Tyrell Malacia, Andre Onana, players that are either not good enough or think they're too good and should be running the bleeding football club or having a say in what actually happens. I feel like they've been badly treated. That pretty much has gone now. There's the odd player that you would sort of bring up and say, I'm not too sure about in that department, or I don't know if he is going to be a player that Ruben Amorim can use in the future, or is going to be a problem. Kobby Mainoo slots right into the middle of it all. And we know the qualities that he's got. We know what he can do at Manchester United. We know that he has obviously failed at Manchester United at times as well. He's been really poor, just like every other player. But now he's surrounded with players, I feel, that are fully on board with what's happening. He hasn't got anywhere to go. There's no bad eggs to go to. There's no one to really say to Kobby Mainoo, you should be doing this or that. It's like no one in and around there. Like before, you'd have had a Marcus Rashford. Yeah, well, I've been through this. This is going to cause a problem as well. Maybe you should do this. This is what I've done before and it's worked for me and I've got what I wanted. Garnacho's attitude on the side of that. You're looking at the problems that were there with Antony and everything that was going on with him off the field and what he fought with SEG, that agency now also being moved away from Manchester United. All of that outside influence is starting to be shifted away from Manchester United. And I think this now is the perfect opportunity. Ruben, get in there. Get sat down with Kobby Mainoo. Get talking to the lad. Find out what his problems are. Work him into the side. Tell him what the future is for Manchester United, where he sees him. Look, I'm not speaking for Ruben here or anything like that. I'm just guessing what might be going on right now. But now that United have done their work, we could actually salvage players that are worth salvaging. And I think Kobby is worth it because he's not costing us anything at the moment. He's an academy graduate and he does have Manchester United at heart. I think he really does. So I want to see Manchester United now take advantage. This is the first time we can actually probably say we are a professional football club. I know it sounds stupid, that, doesn't it? But you know what I mean by that. Hear me out. It's like Manchester United now haven't got the circus going on the side. Everyone's gone. Everyone's gone off to their other clubs, whatever it may be. There is no more players turning up to Carrington and causing a stink, basically. Or really looking at this and saying that Manchester United now are a mess behind the scenes. God knows what's going on. This agent's saying this player's going behind the manager's back. You know what? All of the crap. And I just think it is a good environment around Manchester United now. So I can believe in it. I can believe in it is going to be a better environment for Manchester United to deal with players like Kobby Mainoo, who may have had his head turned by outside influence or poorer influences inside Manchester United. I mean, he's good mates with Alejandro Garnacho. I couldn't give a toss about Alejandro Garnacho. I just look at this now and say, Kobby Mainoo, I think, has got his head screwed on a lot more. I'd rather see the pictures that I saw of Kobby Mainoo training with Lenny Yoro in pre-season, hanging around the likes of Ahmad as well inside Manchester United. Them sorts of younger players rather than the Garnachos of this world, who I fully feel are just a completely negative influence on anything going on. Look, United are at fault here as well for the mess that we've created with these players, but still, when you look at the players, what they've done, what they've said, how they've treated social media to use it to their advantage to get themselves moved away or cause problems or vent their frustrations, I'm fully behind. We'll see now, won't we? If there's any more leaks come out of Manchester United, we'll know what sort of players it's coming from. I don't think there'll be as many. I really don't. The problem that Man United had was straight away, it was highlighted by Ruben Amorim as soon as he walked through the door, which was Marcus Rashford, Alejandro Garnacho, Tyrell Malacia, all being dropped from the squad because they didn't have the right attitude. That straight away, light bulb moments, everybody starts thinking like, what the hell? What was going on before? How are these players getting away with this? If Ruben's come in and he wants to run this like a proper football team and a football club, what was going on before? And you can see how players can get in their heads like, this is how, and this is that culture and player FC sort of mentality that I think was going on at Manchester United. And we have just closed the door on a massive transfer window where Manchester United now are looking forward, I feel. And I think this is the perfect opportunity to salvage the good that is in some of these players, because I think Kobby Mainoo is a long stay at Manchester United. I do. Like, if he wants to leave, he can leave. I don't really think he does. I think he's just got caught up in the whole atmosphere and environment around Manchester United, seen some of his mates go. I just feel like he can be salvaged. With the players that we've got now at this football club, and Mbeumo's, Cunha's, players fully on board, Bruno Fernandes. I know you probably don't rate Dello, but again, the attitude of Dello and that type of player. Obviously, they've made the move with the goalkeeping side of things as well. You've got Casemiro, Harry Maguire. All of these types of players, Mason Mount, that are fully right behind what Ruben Amorim wants. They are good senior players who have, I feel, big influence around Manchester United. And I think they were fighting against the negative, which was the old school, like the Marcus Rashfords, like the Alejandro Garnachos and things like this. Just for like example, with Garnacho, for instance, when you listen to that interview that he had with Chelsea TV, when you listen to everything that's going on around that whole transfer, what was said before, that's gone from Manchester United. Let the circus continue. Let that carry on elsewhere. But it's not at United. We need to build from scratch. And I think the attitude and the player environment is 20 times better. The reports of Kobby Mainoo and Ruben Amorim having these talks this week, I think were just inevitable and were always there. I think they were always going to happen. So I feel like the story behind the Lavias and Manchester United going for Conor Gallagher that Romano is talking about and things like that, I think, yeah, maybe United were looking at it. Maybe United did have to have a contingency plan in place. I just hope that Kobby Mainoo sees sense now, sees it out to the end of the season, and this does not happen again in January. Because if it does happen again in January, then it's only going to affect what Manchester United's plans are. But we need Kobby Mainoo on board. And if he feels like the plans that Manchester United have got and bringing another midfielder are going to hamper his chances of being in this Man United side, I can still fully see Kobby Mainoo again looking to get a move away for the last 6 months. It's all about the World Cup. It's all about getting into that 26 USA World Cup for these players right now. It's quite clear. And they're not thinking about their football clubs. For instance, Casemiro didn't move to Al Nassr, it was after him, because he thought it would give him a better chance of making Carlo Ancelotti's Brazilian squad. Like, he got back into the Brazilian squad, which is his be-all and end-all, through playing for Manchester United under Ancelotti. He wants to stay at Manchester United because of that World Cup. So the World Cup has helped us and it hasn't helped us. I'm not saying I wanted Casemiro gone, and I just thought he should have been moved on by Manchester United just because he's on way too much money. But the World Cup is definitely having an effect on everyone's decisions at the moment. Everyone that's left Manchester United, it's simply because we are... Someone just fell on my bleeding head. I don't know what that was. So back to where I was again there. I think Garnacho was thinking this. Kobby Mainoo, obviously. Casemiro, Antony, players like this. The whole window, I feel, was fully affected by all of the transfer, all of the World Cup and everything that's been building up to that. So, again, I just see now Kobby Mainoo finding his chances a little more within Ruben's system. I do. I hope that Ruben tweaks things a little bit. I'm going to make a defence for Kobby Mainoo on this as well here, because Ruben does have to play his part here as well. Look, his philosophy and his system and whatever you want to call it, what Ruben loves and what he wants to do and what he's done before, that has to stay as some element, yes. But Ruben has to also accept where he is. And this is the only way United are going to move forward this season for me. I think full judgment is going to be on Ruben and how he adapts to Kobby Mainoo's situation, to Manchester United's league position, his form, his record. Clearly isn't working with this group of players. You've brought in a few more that may help you do it, but surely he has to now look at this and say there is a different way that he needs to look at his games. He needs to look at the way that he is coaching these players in a system, but also learning what he can get from them players and what their best attributes are. I fully believe that, and I think that if he does take that on, I think Manchester United, like I said, like these games, as scary as they are that are coming up, United should be thinking that they can win them all. I really do think that this team is good enough to win these games. If they go into it with the right attitude and are fully behind what Ruben wants, and Ruben understands these players even more now, which is why these international breaks are crucial for him, because there's a lot of United players now that are just not on international duty because they're not playing well enough. And that, again, is a big sign of how things have gone wrong at Manchester United. I cannot remember the last player to play for England. Was it Kobby Mainoo in a United shirt? Like, was he the last English player? Was it Maguire? I can't remember now. That's how long ago it was. Like, when is there ever a world when Man United don't have a player in the England international setup? It's embarrassing. I don't think we've got anyone in the under-21s either. To have that right now, that is an absolute disaster for Manchester United. And take advantage of this moment now. Reflect on what's going on at this football club. There is a chance here to move forward from this. And I think this is now where Ruben Amorim, I think, will really be judged. He didn't get any international breaks last time. He didn't have much break in between to work with the players. Now he's had all the pre-season. He's got players that he wants. He's got all of the gaps in between the games in the Premier League. Full week rest for every player. He's got the international break to work on things as well now. There is a lot for Ruben to work with here, and he needs to start getting results. It's more about what Ruben does rather than what Kobby does now for me as well in this. How does Ruben approach a problem player as such? And how does he deal with Kobby? I think if he can get into his head, I think Kobby will be transformed this season. And I think Kobby will be a major, major player for Manchester United going forward. He has to be, because we are lacking in them numbers. Hopefully he sees that. And hopefully Ruben sees the situation as it's developed. And we can now get more from Kobby anyway. Right, that was my sort of look on everything that's going on with Kobby, the midfield situation. I'm going to get into some serious financial benefits for Manchester United in a minute as well, and other news that's going on. But I want to get into the comments section and give you a big chance as well. And now that the transfer window is shut, we can get into a lot more of your comments and thoughts on where United move forward as well. Lots of subjects as well on different things, different players. Bring them all up in the comment section, please, everybody. I'm just going to run through a few super chats to kickstart everything off. Did anyone see the latest stats of Bruno and Mbumo 1 and 2 in the EPL for chances created after week 2 of facts trump feelings? We went on it. I don't think he was on the show actually last night, Manny, when we were talking about the stats of Manchester United being number 1 in all attacking stats from this season so far. So as a team, not just the players, as a team, we are actually improving under Ruben Amorim. We just need to start putting the ball in the back of the net and the results will come. Ant says, Kobby's future down to one thing now, wage demands. You could say that actually, Ant. Kobby does have to decide where he fits in this Manchester United wage structure. I'm going to get into this in a minute, actually, on the wage structure, because that is a bit of a subject that I wanted to talk about later on in this show. But it's interesting, actually, where we're actually at with Kobby Mainoo in this, because I'm going to do some comparisons on it as well, which is definitely... It will be an eye-opener for an awful lot of people and a lot of people watching the show as well. But we'll come to that in a moment. Let's get a few more comments in first of all. Where's this Mainoo story coming from? What I do know is Kobby is receiving the attention of any young player from our club. He is a massive piece of our future. The club has invested in him. There is no issue with Mainoo. Mane, thank you for the super chat, mates. I love your love for our players and our younger players. There is an issue with Kobby Mainoo because he's asked to leave the football club, mate. You cannot ignore the obvious. I love your attempts to try and spin the positive on this, but there is a problem, mate. And Ruben will be talking to Kobby Mainoo this week. He wanted out of Manchester United in our time of need. You cannot ignore that, buddy. That's there in black and white, my friend. And hopefully now, this is the big moment. This is why we're talking about it, why we brought it up. Salvage this lad's career because he's seen it away from Manchester United. I don't care, even if it was a loan and wanted to come back. He wanted to ditch United because he didn't think he was going to play. He didn't want to work for his place in the side. He needs to take on responsibility here for his actions also, as well as Ruben Amorim, which is why the conversation is balanced in that way so far. Robbie with another super chat. Thank you, mate. Never mind the World Cup. First and always. Club comes first and always will. Exactly. That's the mentality of these players right now. They're already thinking ahead when they should be thinking about the now. If you deal with the now and you deal with what's in front of you, the future will take care of itself. Get that into these young players' heads. These players like Marcus Rashford, like Alejandro Garnacho, these prima donna players thinking that they should be getting this and that because of what they've done already. Like, what happened to these players coming through Man United's academy? Honestly, you only have to look through the list of them that have come through and wasted their careers. Look at Scott McTominay. Look at that lad. That's what you need to be using as an example of a proper professional footballer. That man took stick upon stick upon stick and abuse from Manchester United's fans. I've got in on Scott McTominay loads of times, but did he kick up a stink? No. He sat on the bench, he waited it out for weeks. He came back in, proved his worth, kept proving his worth, was a big player, turned out to be Manchester United's most profitable transfer since Cristiano Ronaldo when he went, and then went and got an MVP, a title, and he's right up there now, in fact, on the list for Ballon d'Or nominations for last season and competing on all fronts in Italy. Well done, Scott McTominay. That's the level that I look at for an academy player who has the heart of a Manchester United player, who is a Manchester United supporter. Well done for putting me in my place, Scott McTominay. Well done for putting a lot of Man United fans in their place and what he really was and how he acted. We were taken aback and we were overcome with the need for success in this Manchester United fan base when Scott McTominay was there. He wasn't an issue. He really wasn't an issue. He was just doing what every single manager kept him for, and there were several managers who kept him in the side. He was just doing what he was told. He didn't kick up a stink. He was never on massive wages. That, I think, is how Manchester United's academy players should be treated, and they should be rewarded on how they perform. He didn't get to the level he wanted to because United were a car crash. Didn't get that extra contract because there was no one at Manchester United to really give him one because we didn't know he was bleeding in charge. In the end, he was a victim of how poorly run this football club was. And no one can tell me otherwise from that. I think that's where it was. That's the kind of level of professionalism I think this club is lacking. So well done to him. And I think you'll see something similar in Rasmus Højlund in a way, although he's not an academy player. I think Rasmus Højlund will do well in Italy as well. There are levels and there are places where players belong. Manchester United have to find the balance from bringing these academy lads through, keeping their feet firmly on the ground, and handpicking the right characters to be able to handle playing for Manchester United. And that's what we've done this summer, in my opinion. And I think United have made a massive point on doing this in the transfer window, which is why I didn't have a problem with how this window ended up. We brought characters in that are really going to work within what Ruben wants and what the club is all about. They know where they are. They know the levels of expectation and they can handle it. Every single player brought in was hand-picked, cherry-picked in fact, to do a role. That's why we went for Sesko, the attitude and what we can do. That's why we built a foundation around him in Bruno, in Cunha and in Bumo, who can also help out and take the pressure off him for needing to score goals. This didn't happen with Rasmus, and unfortunately for him, he was a victim of it as well. Scott McTominay never had players around him. Mainoo's now got players around him. And Mainoo now can breathe, I feel, and adapt. If he takes it upon himself now to jump into this and take it with both hands, he could be a Man United legend for the next... He could be, well, not so much a legend yet, but he could be at Man United for the next 10 years and maybe even become a legend because he has got qualities, Kobby Mainoo. If we can harness that, then Man United are moving forward. Paul Daly, welcome to the Members Club. Block 100k. 100k before the City game. All the best from Dubai. Hopefully, mate. Hope you're having a great holiday over in Dubai as well, mate. I wish I was there right now. The World Cup is a good time to clear the garbage, says Robbie. Well, by that I'm guessing you mean see who's really up for the fight that's here in front of us now and not look too far ahead. Yeah, I get it, mate. I do sort of get it. How many points? We've got a poll running up right now. How many points in the next two games, City and Chelsea? How many will we get? 6, 0 to 2, 3, or 4 points? Quite even, actually, at the moment. 0 to 2 is winning it at 32% now. kind of expected that at the moment. Let's get a few more comments in before we move on to that comparison I wanted to make regarding Manchester United's players, finances, wages and everything like that. Once I watched Scott McTominay collapse after running the length of the pitch just to make an attack to pass the ball, and he collapsed as the camera panned off to the celebration, and I never lost love. It's giving everything. It's like every single fan wants every single player to give everything. You're never going to get that with every single player. There's always different types of characters within a football team, isn't there? You're never going to get the same effort from every player. Like it's just what it is. But I think you do need to remember the best attributes of every single player, while criticising as well at the same time, because we're all too easy to criticise. It's easier to criticise than it is to praise, and it's a lot easier to try and forget what you said before and not admit that you was wrong. I've done it a few times. I've been wrong about a few players. I've give Scott McTominay his flowers. I think he deserves them. I do. I think certain players still, though, belong in certain clubs, and some players I don't think belong at Manchester United. I just think Scott McTominay was a Darren Fletcher type of player at this football club. I do. But Darren Fletcher had absolute legends around him. He had characters and leaders around him. Scott never had that. He never had that. And that's the point I wanted to make about Kobby Mainoo this morning. That he now, I feel, has got the right type of player around him. And Casemiro, looking at that, I mean, if I was on the wages that Casemiro was on, I'm not saying Casemiro isn't professional here or anything like that, but he's on ridiculous amounts of money in a position where he knows that Manchester United really can't afford to get rid of him because no one's going to pay them wages. He's not going to move to Saudi Arabia because he wants to be part of the World Cup squad. I do believe if Ancelotti didn't take the Brazil job and Casemiro was still not in that Brazil side, I think this summer Man United might have been able to sell Casemiro. I really do. But let's just see. End of the season, Casemiro has gone. Adam, sometimes it's just about finding the right club. A look at Forlan, pretty poor for Oz. Moved to Spain, bloody Golden Boot winner. Yep, that's the point we're trying to make, innit? That is important for all players. Like there is a player for every. There is a club for every single player. I think Kobby's at the club. I think he should be a Man United player. McTominay doing well now, but a different league. Let's not forget why everyone wanted him out. I wouldn't have sold him, but he wasn't a Rodri like some people think he is now. No way. I mean, I think that's well put there. There is a place for Scott McTominay in this side, but I'm sorry, he isn't up to the level of some of the players he's being compared to. That's definitely right. But look, he's found his club. He's now a legend over there, and good luck to him. In terms of Manchester United, this is interesting. So going forward, like to really defend Kobby Mainoo right now and where he's actually at, if I told you that Kobby Mainoo was, and the wages that Kobby is actually on, officially on as well, if I told you that Tyrell Malacia was on 3 times the money Kobby Mainoo is on, this is where this argument comes in, and this is where Kobby Mainoo obviously is looking at the old United while Manchester United are trying to create a new. So, for example, Kobby Mainoo will say, well, I'm in midfield competing with Casemiro. I'm a first-team player. Casemiro is on £18.2 million a year, 350 grand a week wages at Manchester United. I should be up there. And that's the old United. Unfortunately, Kobby Mainoo has come through at the wrong time. And this is what I mean by timings. Players coming through could come through at the right time. They could come through at the wrong time. You look at this. So you've got Casemiro, who he's comparing himself to. Bruno Fernandes, who he's competing with as well. So if I'm competing with Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro, between them two players, my God, 300 grand a week, 350 grand a week. Kobby Mainoo, on paper, has got a case. But he's only been in the team and into Manchester United's first team for 2 years. These two players have been around for God knows how long. And this is where agencies and agents really ruin these players and give them bad advice. And when you then start to scroll down and look at what has been created by Manchester United, and you start to look at the likes of, let's just say, the two of Man United's best young players at the moment in Lenny Yoro and Amad Diallo. Lenny Yoro is on 115 grand a week, and he has got a contract until 2029. His money is not going to move for a very, very long time. It's going to stay on 115 grand a week wages. Amad Diallo, he is on a contract until 2030, and he is on 120 grand a week wages. That's what Manchester United are creating and Manchester United are building right now. And when you look at the players that have come in, the highest paid player that's come into Manchester United since Ineos took over is Matthias de Ligt, 195 grand a week wages. He's an experienced, full-on captain, international, and probably warrants them wages. And do you know what? At age 26, I think Manchester United have absolutely stole Matthias de Ligt. I really do. He is going to turn out to be. I think when Bruno leaves, and I think Bruno will go in the summer, I think Matthias de Ligt is Man United's new captain. I do. I think he leads by example, and I think he is a guaranteed starter in Manchester United's 11. But then you look down there, like even players that have come in this summer, like big name players like Matthias Cunha, 180 grand a week, Benjamin Sesko, 160, Brian Mbeumo, 150. Kobby Mainoo wants to be paid more than all of these full international players that have been tearing it up in the Premier League for years, apart from Benjamin Sesko, of course. You could argue the point that, well, Benjamin Sesko's on so much more money than Kobby Mainoo. Well, that's there is where he's got a defence. But that there is Benjamin Sesko now set for another 5 years at Manchester United. And I think Kobby just needs to get in line. He's not worth 200 grand a week wages. That, I think, is, for me, what we're looking at here. Interesting how a lot of Manchester United's players that, let's just say, past the absolute craziness of Murto and, let's just say, Murto, Woodward and Arnold era, like United are starting to get a grip. And I think after this summer, I've been mentioning this all along, Kobby Mainoo just has to look that after this summer, the highest earner at Manchester United is going to be Matthias de Ligt. The highest earner at Manchester United after this summer transfer window coming, when this season finishes, is going to be a player on less than 200 grand a week. Now that is what needs to be looked at by the agents. And Kobby Mainoo's situation has just come in a year too soon, really, because next year he would not have had an argument. Because you look at what could potentially be leaving Manchester United. I worked it out earlier on. By the way, Manchester United, with players that are running out of contract this summer, so players that are out of contract this summer that Manchester United won't get a transfer fee for, obviously Harry Maguire, Casemiro, Tyrell Malacia is only on a 4-year deal, by the way. Tyrell Malacia's contract is up this summer, so he's gone. This is his last move away, if he does get a move away from Manchester United. And Tom Heaton. Combined, them 4 players combined, and let's see who is actually really producing anything and starting every single game for Manchester United at the moment. You could argue none of them. Maybe Casemiro out of that whole bunch are leaving Manchester United. These are players that are currently in Manchester United now that haven't had a move away. And you can forget about the other players. Like, you've got Jadon Sancho on that list as well. I'm not even counting him in this. £34.2 million in wages of players that are out of contract next season for Manchester United. 34 million off the wage bill. And we're not even going to get a transfer fee for them players. 34 million. Let that sink in. When next summer comes, because I think Bruno Fernandes will be also off the books at Manchester United. And if, for instance, you put Bruno Fernandes in on that as well, that takes Manchester United's wage bill from players that could possibly be moved on next summer up to, get this, just under £50 million in wages. And then when them players are gone, Matthias de Ligt is the highest earning player at Manchester United, and he's not even getting 200 grand a week. That's what Kobby Mainoo needs to be looking at. And I think United need to sit Kobby down and explain, this is the plan going forward, Kobby. This is where this club is at right now. You can forget about the big earners. This isn't how it's going to work under Ineos. Ineos have got a completely different script, and they've got a completely different plan for Manchester United. This is how this football club should have been run, and should have been run years ago, we have been that stupid that these young players coming through Man United's academy feel like they should be right up there with players that have been brought in by people that shouldn't have even been doing the job in buying these players at this football club. Unfortunately for Kobbie, he's got stuck between what is right now and what we're trying to get rid of and what is coming at Manchester United, which is a proper football structure. And that, I think, is just, hopefully, Ruben can get to grips with him, get him fully on board with what the plan is for Manchester United. This is what it's going to be. And don't get me wrong, these players will probably, on top of these actual wages, be on mega bonuses. I don't give a toss about bonuses and players earning absolute fortunes past their base wage because they've earned it. They've actually got United to a point where we can afford to pay them bonuses. Not now, paying them for mediocrity and crap with zero accountability. Where we're at right now is a complete and utter sham at the football club in terms of how we run it and what we're paying. But after this season and after them wages have gone, Manchester United are a completely different run football club. I just hope we can hold on to Kobbie and get into his head and say, look, Cobbs, mate, you are the future of this football club. Even if we don't give you a contract this summer, we will relook at it again next summer. Go and show us what you're made of, and let's put you in between where we think you should be. Like, even if Kobby Mainoo's on the same sort of money as a Lenny Yoro or an Amad Diallo, 120 grand a week, that's more than enough. That's like 6 times as much as what he's on now, near enough. That should be enough for a player of that calibre. Like, you are 3 years into your United contract from coming through the academy, and next summer, Kobby Mainoo, you're going to be up there near enough in the top 10 earners of this football club on that amount of money. You're only 75 grand behind the highest earner at the football club, and he definitely doesn't warrant that position at the moment either. So just to put it in a little bit of perspective, really, with everything going on right now with Kobbie, I understand his side. I understand the importance of these talks and getting the lad on board, but there has to be a reality check from his side as well on this. And if he doesn't want that, and he wants away, and he still wants more money from Manchester United, then unfortunately his future doesn't lie at the football club. So, yeah, the thought of Manchester United replacing him or bringing another player in January is probably the club thinking after, 9-10 months of talks with him not accepting a contract, worrying about him asking to leave. United need to make a contingency. United need to be planning for life without Kobby Mainoo just in case they can't convince him. So anybody thinking that we shouldn't be talking to anybody else, anybody who thinks that Manchester United shouldn't be looking into the transfer market right now and looking ahead, then I would say you need to just sit down and look at that situation again and then rethink what you're thinking, because United have to have something ready to go. They have been warned and they got away with it with Kobbie. They managed to keep him on the last few days of this transfer window, so we're okay now. Get him on board, but have the contingency plan. That's what I think we should be looking at right now, and I think that's how we should be looking at it as a fan base. A lot of information there from me. Sorry about that. I have gone on quite a bit there, everybody. I'm going to come into your comments now. So this is your chance, everybody. Get into that comment section. Let me know your thoughts on this. Lots of detail, lots of interesting stats there as well. Graham with a super chat. Kobbie, make yourself indispensable and your new contract will follow. Deal with the now and the future takes care of itself. Make it impossible for Manchester United to leave you out of this side. Well said, Graham, with the super chat there. Completely agree with that stance. That's how every player should look at it. Adam, with Scott is doing so well in Italy, do you think the current Manchester United team could win the Italian league, or are we still too crap? It's a weird question, mate, for one. Thank you for the super chat. It's just one of them kind of arcade game special quiz sort of questions. That, isn't it? It's no, I don't, is the answer. I don't think we're fit to win any of the major leagues right now. Would we be competitive in that league? Oh, God, easily. I just think there are other teams there that would probably pip us right now. Just to answer the super chat, mate. But thanks for the completely weirdo question there. But I get what you're saying. I do. Like, where do United rank? Champions League football is what we will be talking about there, because there's definitely teams in Italy in that Champions League that are better than us right now. The rest of that league I don't really rate, mate, to be honest, which is why these players probably find it easier. We've just seen Premier League teams beating each other for the last 3 years, and it's getting harder and harder right now. Like, honestly, I could look at the Liverpool game at Anfield and still feel like Brighton at home is just as hard, even harder for Manchester United. That's how tough this league is. I'm waiting and I'm scared for when Bournemouth come to town. After what they did to Spurs and what Iraola has done with that team, I'm scared of every single opposition in this league, barring the odd one or two really garbage sides. But that's what the Premier League is now. It's a different kettle of fish. And if you are not used to it, you will struggle, which is why United went out and bought Prem-proven players, or as many Prem-proven players as they possibly could this summer. I think that is where Manchester United now are really looking, and that's the reality of it. That's what happens when you get a football structure in. You get rid of players that are not going to be able to handle it, and you get players in that you know, and you spend the majority of your transfer budget on players you know are actually going to be able to compete and wear that Man United shirt. Being able to handle it, I think, is a big thing as well. Robbie with a super chat says the manager should be on more than the players. Should he? I mean, he's the one organising the stars and these players. I never think the manager should be on more. If the manager, I think, like, longest serving players and longest serving staff should be the ones that are on the most. That's how it should be looked at. Now, let's just check the confidence level right now. We have a poll running right now. How many points in the next 2 games against City and Chelsea? Most people going for nothing to 2 points. I mean, 2 points against Chelsea and City, that's good results. That is very good results. You have to back that up by beating Brentford and Sunderland, and then that looks like a very, very good in-between international breaks. That if United can go unbeaten in them 4 games, 2 draws, 2 wins, I'm taking that. We're comfortably in the top half of the table, probably in the top 6 with them results. And we've got through a very, very difficult start to a season. There is a chance that we just get beat by City, draw with Chelsea, and then end up beating Brentford and Sunderland, as you'd expect Manchester United to do, and go away with 7 points. It probably won't be looked at as that bad a situation, but United, it would be nice if United could compete again like we did last season against the bigger clubs and add the so-called smaller clubs to our sort of results roster as well, in terms of what we actually get out of them smaller games. If United improve by about 50% in terms of the lesser sort of results from last season, and United will be right up there. It's all about making Old Trafford a fortress for me. I think Teti, that's supposed to be Januzaj, as that say there. It came out as a typo, mate. Adnan Januzaj was a talent, yet we rushed him with too much pressure and he crumbled. Young players like Kobbie need to stay humble and continue to learn. This shouldn't be happening right now. No, you're right, it shouldn't be happening. Stephen says Manchester United have to have too many money-grabbing crybabies who think about themselves and money before the club club and winning the title. Whinging is probably the right word actually to use there instead of winning. I bought my first house off the family. Oh, right, sorry about that. Jumping into someone's personal conversation there. 2 draws, 2 wins, living in a dreamland. Adam, we probably beat City, draw to Chelsea, lose to the other 2. I know you're a complete downer on that side of things, Cal, but we'll get you on a call-in show and I'll hopefully put you in your place and we'll have it out on the call-ins after them games. Cal is never convinced by anything that's happening at Manchester United. But look, Cal is like a few Man United fans. They're waiting to be proven wrong and they need to see more before they can fully be on board with it. I know what Man United can do. And again, I'm just waiting for Manchester United to get to that point. I'm waiting for Manchester United to get to that level where I am expecting them to be, which is me feeling a lot more comfortable and a lot more confident in this team going forward. So, yeah, that's where I am at right now anyway. And I think it is coming. I do think it will come. Ruben needs to earn his salt in the big games, set up properly and get results, get the team selection right. We won't be beating either of those teams with Bruno cast in midfield. Bruno needs to earn his salt. I mean, you've gone at the wrong way there, I think, Boylo, because Ruben took points off Liverpool, he took points off Arsenal, he took points off Manchester City last season. The bigger games are not the problem, mate. it's the smaller games that Ruben needs to earn his salt in. It's being able to adapt and get the most out of his team and get them mentally prepared for the smaller games that I think Ruben needs to sort out. Look, that pretty much is all of our news this morning. There isn't that much. It is all about the important stuff going on behind the scenes right now. I will keep you up to date with everything going on off the pitch, everything that's happening right now. Obviously, football talk is taking preference. International break is a time for us to obviously sit back, relax, and take note of what's happened, reflect on everything that's going on right now. And I think now that we're into Thursday, heading into the weekend, let's see how our players play on international duty. I'll keep you up to date with all of the Malacia and Andre Onana speculation as the international break goes on, as we're expecting more and more news to come from that in terms of transfers out for them too. And obviously any other news coming out regarding the injuries. We're waiting for a bit more of an update on Matheus Cunha and Mason Mount. I've asked some questions, so we'll see if anything comes of that coming up in the next, today and before the weekend, hopefully. But that is it for now, everybody. Thank you so much. Again, absolutely mega, everybody. Cheers for being part of the show. As always, get your comments in below. Let me know what you're thinking, giving your thoughts on Kobby Mainoo, Manchester United's stance overall with how they're treating these players contractually right now. I just broke it down in the show there where United's contracts are at. Give me your thoughts on that as well, please, everyone. Give this video a like, everybody. Let's get them likes up, please. And, of course, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. We are just over 500 away from the 100k. Thank you so much, everyone. I will speak to you all later on. Keep you updated on everything going on. And, yeah, have a great day, everyone.